never believed love could hurt this much until I met him. And the cruelest part? He barely even noticed me, like I was just another shadow passing through his perfectly controlled world. Lucas Gray. The name alone carried weight in our small American town. People whispered about him the way they did about storms, powerful, unpredictable, and best avoided. He was the kind of boy whose silence drew more attention than anyone else's words. Tall, sharp-jawed, with those unreadable gray eyes, he was ice in human form. And yet, against every ounce of reason I had, I was drawn to him like moth to flame. I should have stayed away. God knows I tried. But when your heart decides to betray you, logic doesn't stand a chance. At school, Lucas was untouchable. He'd walk through the halls in his black leather jacket, earbuds in, shutting out the world with that permanent scowl etched into his face. People either feared him or wanted to be him. Me? I just wanted to understand him. To know why someone so young carried himself like he had already lived through every kind of heartbreak. But every time I tried to get close, he pushed me away. Literally. Once, when I accidentally brushed his arm in the cafeteria line, he glared at me like I'd committed a crime. "Watch it," he snapped, his voice as cold as the Colorado winter. My throat tightened, my chest burning with words I couldn't say out loud. Because what I wanted to tell him was dangerous. What I wanted to tell him could destroy me. In our town, boys didn't fall in love with other boys. At least not where anyone could see. Still, I couldn't stop watching him. I memorized the way he ran his hands through his hair when he was frustrated. How his jaw clenched when someone got too close. How his entire face softened just for a second when he thought no one was looking. And then fate did something I never saw coming. It was late, almost midnight, when I found myself wandering the edge of Miller's Creek, a place teenagers went to drink and scream into the night. I wasn't drunk, just restless. The kind of restless that makes your chest feel like it's going to crack open. That's when I saw him. Lucas. Alone. But not the Lucas I knew. Not the cold, guarded, untouchable version. This Lucas was sitting on the hood of his beat-up Chevy, strumming an old guitar, his head tilted back toward the stars. His voice was raw, aching, and beautiful in a way that stripped every wall I'd built around myself. I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs. For the first time, I saw him. Not the armor. Not the anger. Just him. I didn't mean to make a sound, but a twig snapped beneath my shoe. His head jerked up, eyes narrowing. "What the hell are you doing here?" I should have run. I should have pretended I was lost, apologized, and disappeared into the night. But instead, I whispered the truth. "I didn't know you could sing." His face changed. Just for a second, surprise cracked through the ice. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Lucas Gray had secrets, and somehow I had just stumbled into one. From that night, everything began to shift. Slowly, like tectonic plates beneath the earth, but undeniably. Lucas didn't suddenly become warm or open. He was still the boy who built walls out of silence. But sometimes, when we crossed paths, he didn't look away as quickly. Sometimes, when I spoke, he actually listened. One evening, after everyone else had left basketball practice, I found him sitting alone on the bleachers. His hands trembled as he tied and retied his shoelaces. I wanted to ask what haunted him, why he carried so much weight in those shoulders. Instead, I sat down quietly beside him. He didn't move away. For Lucas, that was progress. I learned things in pieces, like shards of glass scattered across the ground. His dad was gone, his mom worked 2 jobs, and he was practically raising his little sister. He was angry because the world had forced him to grow up too fast. He was cold because warmth was a luxury he couldn't afford. And yet, in the rare moments when his walls lowered, he was gentle. So heartbreakingly gentle. It messed with my head. The boy I thought I hated for being cruel was the same boy who once handed his little sister a flower crown he'd made from dandelions. The same boy who, when he thought no one was looking, whispered lullabies under his breath to calm her fears. Every time I saw that version of him, I fell harder. But falling in love with Lucas Gray was like standing on train tracks, hearing the rumble of steel in the distance, and refusing to move. Because the truth was, our town didn't forgive boys like us. And Lucas wasn't the only one with secrets. I had mine too. I thought love was supposed to break you, but in the end, it saved me. The night everything came crashing down. Lucas wasn't the boy everyone feared anymore, was just a boy who refused to let go of me. It happened fast. Too fast. One moment we were walking home from practice, laughing in the quiet way we'd learned to laugh, hidden, cautious, just enough to keep the world from seeing. The next, headlights tore through the dark, and a car skidded to a stop in front of us. The men who climbed out weren't strangers. Everyone in town knew the Parker brothers, loud, bitter, and always looking for trouble. They hated Lucas, and by extension, they hated me. "Look at this," one of them sneered. "The Ice King and his little boyfriend." My stomach dropped. They'd said it out loud. Words that could ruin us. Words sharp enough to slice through skin and bone. Lucas stepped in front of me before I could breathe, his shoulders squared like a shield. "Walk away," he growled. But they didn't walk away. They came closer. Too close. The fight was brutal. Fists against flesh, curses splitting the night. I tried to pull Lucas back, but he pushed me behind him, taking every blow, refusing to let them near me. His knuckles split, blood smeared his jaw, but he didn't stop. He fought like he was defending more than his body, like he was defending the truth we hadn't dared to speak. And then it happened. One of them pulled a knife. Time slowed. I shouted his name, but Lucas didn't flinch. He took the hit meant for me. The blade sliced across his side, and he staggered, breath catching. But he didn't fall. Instead, with one last surge, he shoved them back, forcing them to retreat into the night with curses and threats. When it was over, he collapsed against me, his weight heavy, his breath ragged. "Lucas, God, you're bleeding." He looked at me then, his gray eyes soft for the first time, as if the walls he'd built his whole life had finally shattered. "I'd do it again," he whispered. "For you, I'd do it 1,000 times. And in that moment, something inside me broke. The fear, the shame, the hiding it all crumbled under the weight of his words. I kissed him, right there, under the flickering streetlight, with his blood warm on my hands and the night closing in around us. I kissed him. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't safe. But it was real. For the first time, I didn't care who saw. The days that followed blurred together. Lucas spent a week in the hospital, stubbornly brushing off every nurse, every doctor, like their concern was an inconvenience. But when I visited, he softened. He let me sit by his bed, let me read to him, let me touch his hand without pulling away. We talked in the quiet hours when the world felt far away. He told me about the weight he carried, about the anger he didn't know how to let go of, about the fear of being seen for who he really was. And I told him mine. The nights I'd stared at the ceiling, suffocated by secrets. The loneliness of loving someone I thought I could never have. It wasn't easy. Healing never is. Our town didn't suddenly accept us. The whispers didn't stop. The stares didn't vanish. But something changed inside us. Lucas wasn't hiding anymore. And neither was I. One evening, weeks after everything, we stood on the old bridge overlooking the town. The air was cool, the river below catching fragments of light. He slipped his hand into mine, fingers rough but steady. "You know," he said, his voice low, "I used to think love was weakness, that it made you soft. But now I know it's the only thing that makes me strong." I squeezed his hand. "Then we'll be strong together." He turned to me, his eyes no longer ice but something warmer, something alive. And when he kissed me, it wasn't desperate or hidden. It was slow, deliberate, a promise etched into the night. Months passed. The world didn't magically fix itself. People still talked. Some avoided us, others spat cruel words under their breath. But there were also moments of quiet acceptance, teachers who looked the other way when we sat too close, friends who defended us when the whispers grew too loud. Lucas's little sister who wrapped her tiny arms around us both and said, "I like it when you're happy." It was enough. Love didn't erase the pain, but it gave us a reason to face it. And maybe that's what love really isn't, perfection, not safety, but the choice to stand in the fire together. Lucas once told me he felt like he was drowning, like the world was an ocean that would swallow him whole. That night on the bridge, I told him something I never thought I'd say out loud. Then let me be your air. His lips curved into the smallest, rarest smile. And I'll be your anchor. So here we are, two boys in a small American town, holding on to each other against the tide. Maybe tomorrow the world will try to tear us apart again. Maybe it always will. But tonight, under the glow of the streetlights and the hum of the quiet river, we are whole. We are alive. And for the first time, we are free. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.